Hi, MereAnn.
Hey,
So, MereAnn, we've got 10 more minutes. So, what's one thing you would love the world to know?
boiling it down to one thing, I think it is that regulation has to come before anything else.
Mm.
Regulation comes before we're available to connect with one another. It comes before we're able to make sense of what's going on.
Mm.
And the way I think about it is that our brain and our body have to agree. They have to have a chance to communicate and agree that this moment is not an emergency. And so
Mm.
if a kid is having a tantrum, if I'm stuck in traffic, if there's some other frustration going on, that that has shifted the way I think about the whole situation because before I can even decide what to do about it, either it is an emergency and I just have to take action so that I can get to the other side of an emergency and then I can come down and regulate and get settled again.
Mm.
Or if it's not an emergency, I still have to regulate my body and figure out some way to anchor or pause or
Mm.
reset or connect to myself so that I can assess what needs to happen next. I can organize my response.
Yes.
And I think that's it, that if there's one thing to hold in our minds, that's really almost too much when we're in that fight, flight, freeze. One thing to remember is almost too much because we're
Yeah.
so full. But I think that's the spot to start with our body. And it has to go in that order. Regulate first, then
Mhm.
relate. Either find someone else that we can feel seen
Mm.
and heard with,
Yep.
or try to communicate to our kids, hey, I see you. I hear you. I get it. Oh my gosh, I understand. I'm here with you. Then we can reason through what to do about it, how to recover, how to repair, what to do next time.
Yeah. I love it. Regulate must come first. Regulation must come first. So, MereAnn, how did you discover it?
I feel like it's something that got repeated enough in different ways that
Mm.
it was less about discovery and more about connecting the dots. That some of my mentors have been um, folks who studied in interpersonal neurobiology. And so I learned about doing play therapy with children by inviting their senses into the room with sand tray, with zooming Hot Wheel cars around the floor, this idea that we have to engage their whole body
Yeah.
in order for them to be available to do therapy work. And
Mm.
then one of my mentors was a neuroscientist and a pediatric psychiatrist, Dr. Bruce Perry. And he's done the work of connecting the dots because he was saying in the field of child development, we don't always know about trauma. And in the field of traumatology, we don't always know about
Mm.
neurobiology. And so it was really the intersection of all of these fields, along with the emergence of neuroscience being a little bit more accessible, that I was able to start connecting the dots and get back to, oh my gosh, it all boils down to
Mm.
regulate, relate, reason, instead of the other way around, where if we prioritize teaching, we
Mm.
may not be connected.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you saying regulate, relate, reason.
Mhm.
Okay. And I think it sounds like you came to really discover it through different avenues and in working with it and
Mhm.
seeing it. Same,
Yeah.
same. So tell me, yeah, and if you want to, yeah, add something, yeah. And
Well,
then I
I
have
was
a,
thinking about all those channels that yes, in professional practice, also
mm.
reading and studying. So taking a step back from the
Mm.
experiential and letting the theory sort of filter in, and then
Yeah.
parenting. And then in
Mm-hmm.
parenting, that reflected back to me, what do I need to regulate? When I was curious about it in my child, I could be curious about it in myself.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's like we read these things, but if we live it in our home, yeah, exactly. With lots of trial and error and feedback.
hmm
Beautiful. So if someone is watching, what's the first step you would recommend to them with to implement this, to live this?
I think it can be helpful to start paying attention to kids' nonverbal communication. Particularly, this sounds counterintuitive, but particularly the things that kids do that are rhythmic, repetitive,
Mm.
and patterned, or sort of providing
Oh,
sensory
wow.
input.
Mhm.
And what amuses me about that is that it's often things that are very annoying to us as adults,
Mm.
right? The kid who is kicking the legs of the dinner table, or
Mm.
running and crashing into the couch repeatedly, or stomping down the stairs, or demanding bubble gum.
Mm.
Anytime we observe kids to be doing something rhythmic, repetitive, patterned, sensory, it's very likely that they're trying to regulate themselves.
Mhm.
So if we can notice that, and they're not necessarily upset when they're doing it, because kids
Mhm.
are
Right.
responding to sensations inside their body, right? We do this too, but it's harder to notice it in ourselves because it's
Mhm.
like the fish doesn't know the water it's swimming in, kind of a phenomenon.
Mm.
But if we can watch them and their nonverbals, that will give us clues about what to offer them or what to provide for them proactively.
Mm.
Um, and that can keep them more regulated more often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah. Awesome. And so in this same kind of, you mentioned something that's a common obstacle. What is a common obstacle for people when they try to do this?
I think it feels like, or it can feel like we're not doing enough or we're not doing anything.
Mhm. Mm.
I think so often, especially when we think about dysregulation, my mind goes right to big behaviors. And often focusing on regulation can feel like we're letting behaviors slide.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying anything goes, but I'm saying anything that we have to offer next, whether it is logical consequences or a strategy for next time or collaboration or shifting expectations, none of that is going to have traction if the child's not regulated and or we are not regulated.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
regulation is enough. That has to be where we start. But sometimes it's subtle and sometimes it's more explicit. So we got to stay
Yeah.
flexible with it.
Yeah. As you're saying that subtlety, it's like, yeah, it is in the day to day. And
Mhm.
so, how would someone who's listening to this, how would they know that they're doing it right? What are just some of the signals?
Hmm. Well, I think I just did it, right? When I sort of let your question in and took a pause and like felt my shoulders go down of like,
Mm.
okay, I can notice maybe a little bit of tension release. That takes a lot of practice. That may not be the first cue, but I think that's one of the ways that I feel encouraged to keep going with this practice is that I notice if
Mhm.
I'm not trying to do it all, if I'm being intentional about just focusing on one part, helping a child regulate, helping myself regulate, there's a
Mhm.
little more space. There's a little more breathing room. There's a little less urgency.
Okay.
Because if we notice, then we can be a little bit more compassionate. And I just find that it slows the whole chain of reaction down just a little
Mhm.
bit.
Mhm.
Um, and also, like we've got to notice inside ourselves, we've also got to notice between us and other people. And so if we're focusing on regulation, one of the cues can be that your child is maybe catching your eye, maybe pausing to watch your face, maybe coming a
Mhm.
little bit closer, maybe pausing in their action. Because by slowing down and being curious and observant, we're able to open up both regulation and connection together, and
Mhm.
they'll feel that, right?
Yes.
So this takes practice to notice
Yep.
these subtleties, but I
Yep.
think that's it. It's sort of at first kind of granular, but it becomes something you can feel pretty quickly because when we're on the right track, we kind of go, oh, there, I saw it. Oh, I
Yeah.
noticed. Oh, that was
Yeah.
it.
Oh, super. And as you're talking about that, we've got we'll take 20 more seconds, but they are like bubbles, and they, yeah, just come and notice one. Oh my goodness, so many beautiful things that you mentioned. So I want to thank you so much for being on. We have 10 more minutes, and yeah, I'll share all your info in the video description. Thank you, MereAnn.
Thank you, Maria.
So